Hey everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Snapchat. As always, I'm joined today by none other than Cozy Snap. Cozy, what is the card in Marvel Snap that you would be most scared to fight in real life?
I would die by a lot of them. I feel like, just like one punch and it's over. Hulk, sure, but like this, he's giving me tacos.
He's handing you a taco. He
Seems
just wants to talk.
He seems great. Like Kazar, he's pretty yoked. Dude, it's got to be. It's got to be this guy. His biceps have their own zip code. The hairstyle alone screams like, I'm going to kill you for even just like bumping into me at the baseball game. Like, I want nothing to do. His name is Strong Guy. You know what I mean? Like, who are you picking?
Strong Guy is absolutely terrifying. I can't believe this variant actually has like fire in the background. Like he's literally in the depths of hell. This is the definition of unapproachable. And I had to pick, but this is so much more fearsome. I'm going to go with the original variant of Namor. It was kind of the inspiration of this topic because like he is just so cut. He looks like he can play a hell of a soccer game too. And I got to tell you, this Cristiano Ronaldo looking guy looks like he can punch with the best of them. And he's got that spear, but you know what? He drops the spear. I think he one punches me. I don't think I can fight this Namor.
I feel like if you put him and like Absorbing Man, Kazar, like who's coming out on top? Because dude, honestly, he's a close second, man. Also, because he has that like look of crazy in his face. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest. I don't think I want to fight anybody. To be completely frank, But I think honestly, Moon Girl could even kick my ass at this point in my life.
Probably.
Regardless, Cozy, we had a lot of fun on your side of the Snapchat, guys. So why don't you give us a quick breakdown of what we just spoke about?
Yeah, so you can view my topics over on my channel. We did surprising high win rate decks, so not your mother's decks, right? The ones that are doing well by the data, but like no one's playing. We also talked about the best cards at every cost. We're going to be talking about the worst here, best on mine, and locations. This was fun. We had a one-word game. I would say location, and me and Alex would just kind of say the first word that came to mind, and then we kind of broke it down. It's easy to relate to if you play a good amount of Marvel Snap. What are we talking about today on your side?
We're going to be talking about the best archetypes to climb the ladder, the worst cards in Marvel Snap currently at every single cost. We're going to do the over-the-air update. We give some impressions on Luke Cage, Orca, and the Collector. But I got some important news as well before we jump into that. So next week's episode of the podcast is going to be a little unique, okay? What we're going to do is on my channel here, we're going to be doing a question and answer mailbag. So if you have a question related to Marvel Snap or otherwise, you can ask us anything you want down in the comments section below. And Cozy and I are going to pick some of our favorite questions, and we're going to do an entire episode dedicated to just talking about whatever the heck you guys ask us. So complete free reign. We're going to mix it up with some Marvel Snap questions. We'll do some life and general questions as well. But either way, I'm actually super looking forward to this. So keep an eye out for next week.
Super pumped. That'll be a fun one for sure, man. And it'll be good. I'm going to New York, and where are you going?
I'll be in Florida, actually. We're going to be in Florida taking the kids to Walt Disney World.
Oh, my. The happiest place on earth. When's the last time you've been?
I went there like maybe 6 years ago. No, 5 years ago when my daughter was really, really young. And it was pretty cool. I got to tell you, it was a really interesting experience. I loved it. I thought it was really fun. And I'm looking forward to taking the family again, despite the fact that my wife and I are like wildly outnumbered with the 4 kids.
I like how you talk about it too, like as if it's like something that's not like huge. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a fun experience. It's Disney World, man. Like Epcot, and it's crazy. It's a blast. What's your favorite ride? Hit me.
I'm stressed out. I can't even remember a favorite ride. I had never been to Epcot before. And the other thing is, like with my kids, we had to buy leashes, man. We got like these Mickey Mouse backpack things. It looks like a backpack, but it's actually like a leash we get to hold so the kids can't run away.
Oh my god!
I don't even think you understand. Like we are outnumbered. My kids are just gonna run.
There's at least gonna be. I can't wait for the stories that are gonna come back from that. I like Disney World a lot. I went to Disneyland. Like kind of growing up, I went to Disney World somewhat recently. Man, like Pirates of the Caribbean. Surprisingly, there's a Snow White ride that slaps.
I've been trying to get my son hyped up for the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. He's just tall enough to get on it. He loves Baby Groot. So he's been asking about like, oh, are there going to be superheroes there? I'm like, yeah, we're going to see Groot and the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's like, what about Iron Man? I'm like, I don't know. And I looked into it. Apparently Iron Man is like universal because there's some like contractual thing. So my son's like hoping to see like Captain America and stuff. I'm like, no, it's like we're going to see Groot and Rocket, and he's like, I love Groot and Rocket. So he's still super hyped up too. It's going to be super awesome. But he's not into Star Wars yet.
Oh, dude, there's some, yeah, man. The Rise of the Resistance is absolutely incredible. That's second to none. I think that's over at Land though. And Test Track, man. Test track at Epcot is timeless. You'll love that.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to it, Cozy. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
On that, I will end with this. There is a mission to Mars. There's something at Epcot. It is the word. No one told me anything. There's two colors, Alex, right? There's orange and there's like green or blue. And one is like a simulation. The other one, they want you to experience what it's like going to the moon. And so you get the force, the G's. Dude, I put down like 9 margaritas at the Mexico pyramids. It was horrific. I can do a lot of thrill. I'm a thrill junkie, man. It blew my mind. Don't do orange color on Mission to Mars. Or just remember those words.
When you explain that, like, they're going to try and recreate what it's like to be on the moon. I'm like, what are they going to do? Put you in a room and just vacuum seal it? So you just like...
you need to do it now. I almost like need you to do it just so I know I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna make sure you did it. With that, we should get to our first subject, the best archetypes to climb the ladder, man. So I think this was interesting, you know, because there are some that are fun to play, like Lockjaw, right? But is it the best to absolutely climb? Probably not, right? Luck is not always on your side. So hit me with the first one. What is your favorite archetype to climb the ladder?
All right, so right now, I don't even know what to call it, because I don't think we've really ironed it down, but I'm calling it Bolt, Stature, Miles, Miracle. And it's not quite Miracle, because, like, Miracle usually has, like, you know, your dump in your whole hand. Like, there's the Miracle definition of what, like, a Magic the Gathering player expects a Miracle deck to be. But this is almost the Marvel Snap equivalent of it, almost. I mean, I guess negative decks are closer, but anyways, you know what deck I'm talking about, right? Bolt on 5, you move your Jeff or your Nightcrawler, and then you got whatever the hell you want to play, plus Stature and Miles Morales. It is a wild deck.
I think next to the Leech Leader deck that hit January like super hard, this is by far the most like I've ever seen a heavy deck. And I've got to say, listen, I love giving credit to people and whatnot. I don't know like where it spawned. I just know everyone is just like, it's no creator's deck. I can tell you that. This thing spawned and it just like hoofed. And maybe it is. I don't know. I actually don't know where the original.
The first person I saw talk about it was Cam Best.
I think Lammy on Twitter too, maybe. Yeah, I think the credit goes to Lammy, but also it was probably played before. I don't even know. But what I know is this deck is everywhere at the moment, and it's just utilizing cards that can't be Shang-Chi. They're easy to discount. You can throw a lot of them out there. It's wild, man, but you know it's not easy to access. You need Jeff for consistent play, Stature as well, and even Miles. You know, not everybody has. So but if you have it, man, it feels like one of the most impressive good decks that don't have a lot of counters outside of like Sandman.
It really is a fantastic deck. It just does everything right, and it has so many different answers too. Like it has it just puts out power. And I think the key thing you touched on is like you just can't Shang-Chi it. Even Black Bolt, like it's a 5/8. Like you just can't Shang-Chi it. There's no easy answer. It runs Darkhawk. It has a disruption of Darkhawk as well. So like it does a lot of things right, and I think it is without question one of the best decks to currently rank up with. And I guess it kind of brings that archetype to light. It's like that Miracle style turn 6. We're just gonna dump things down.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I was looking at it when you sent the subject. I didn't even put that because I didn't know like the archetype to say. I was trying to think more linear on some of it, but yeah, dude, I agree. Just filthy. You can really just run that core set of cards and put other options in there, and it's gonna work really well. For my number 1 spot as like the most dependable climb, and I damn near have it more than this. This has. Typically, the run of this deck does have Enchantress and Shang-Chi, this Black Bolt deck as well. Like, it has these counter options. If you don't know what to play, if you're just getting slapped around left and right by, like, everything out there, I still think it's got to be Sarah Control. And it doesn't even have to be Sarah Dark Control. It doesn't have to be Darkhawk. You can have Hitmonkey. You can have not Hitmonkey. To have an answer for most of the things that you come across is just going to be the most consistent thing to reliably climb ranks. Like that's where it's funny. That's where Sarah Control kind of came from to begin with, right? It is a reliable climbing deck that can counter most of the meta and go against most of the stuff. And now Enchantress is so good, it makes all the sense. You have an answer for locations and flow and tempo. It's got to be my favorite archetype, bar none, to climb with.
It's funny you bring that up because the last several seasons, including this one, when I'm on like that last stretch to Infinite, I'm at like 97, 98. I've been turning to Sarah Control because I feel like there's never a game that you're out of it. Like it feels like you always have something.
Yep.
You have an answer for everything. And like you just, even if they snap, you're like, no, man, I got answers. I can handle this. Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna play a Darkhawk? I got Enchantress. Oh, it's that location you like so much. I got, there's just so many answers in the list, and you feel, and again, I love the monkey version of it. That's the one I go to. I'm glad you brought that up because like that turn 6 with Monkey Mysterio and like Bishops is like, look how huge I am all of a sudden. It's beautiful, and it brought back cards that like just weren't being played, right? So I love the new control list with Sarah in it.
Yeah, so damn good. I think, with the Hitmonkey version or the Darkhawk, you are a tad more greedy, a tad. You have a bigger, higher burst potential of like power you can put out. But if you, let's say, don't get Hitmonkey, or if Black Bolt, because they're everywhere right now, is out there, it's probably your Hitmonkey that's going to get discarded. Like it's a bit more greedy, but those have bigger payoff. The other version is just that consistent list, and Lizard and Enchantress is like Merriment now is even better. Just super, super solid. So that's my number one as far as just like if you're looking for consistency, it's got to be that. Give me another one.
So I'm going to bring this up again. Every single week, the last couple weeks I've brought it up, it's discard. And we're talking consistency here because like people have this idea around discard, like it's this crazy RNG Hella fest where like Hella used to be like the top of the meta, by the way. In beta, Hella was like what you used to get to infinite. But like you have this beautiful Colleen Wing variant on the screen here. That is a consistent discard effect. Like what it's hitting, right? Like the effect it's going to generate, especially when you have like Wolverine and Swarm. Obviously you don't play Colleen Wing if you're holding Morbius. If you do that, you deserve to donate cubes. But like, Sif is a reliable discard. MODOK is a reliable discard. You know what it's going to do. Like the RNG on the discard's gone. And the only thing is like you get screwed by Dracula every once in a while. Like every once in a while, it doesn't do exactly what you want it to do. But ultimately, like it has been such a reliable climber for me. And Nebula's made it better, by the way.
Yeah, I have to say this. I have never played more discard than I have right now. When I make these in-depth guides, guys, like I haven't done an in-depth guide at the time of posting this video a week. All right, and it's because I don't spit them out. I really play with the deck to fully understand it. And I've played 500 plus discard games. And I've done all these different formulas trying to bring something new to the table. And there's a lot of good things out there. But the reason why the current list is doing so well, and it's the one with Storm and Colin Wing and Swarm and MODOK, is because it's so linear, but it's great it's linear because of the discard and the way that it plays, right? When you try to do fancy stuff with the collector and stuff, which is cool, it's good, you just lose out on, maybe you have too many swarms and then your Dracula gets a swarm instead. There's just different interactions that can happen. The main list out there with Chavez is so damn dependable. It is a steady climb, man. It's a steady one. It's everywhere, too. People are starting to play it now. It's starting to get out there.
I'm actually happy to see that. We've been preaching this for weeks now that discard's good, and I've been making videos about it. My Decks of the Week series, I'm like, discard. People are like, shut up about discard. And I'm like, no, I won't, because it's damn good. It'll help you get to infinite. It's going to help you rank up. It'll get you to level 70 for the free variant. Like, it's going to do work for you. Yeah. Trust it. Just trust it. It's not the RNG festival it used to be, Cozy.
Yeah.
Hit me with another one.
So discard was my third, so absolutely agree on that one. My other one that I had, honestly, I think it's because it's pretty linear, and it has to be that it's so linear. It's your basic destroy Deathwave. Deathwave at its core is so damn good. Like, even if there's, again, maybe it's not the most fun deck that you can play because it's pretty linear on what you do, but the base core list that I'll bring up here is so solid. I mean, you do have an answer for most of it. Now that Enchantress and Shunga are in the list as well, like, good luck. You have a counter to what they're putting out there. Your Bucky and Carnage are under Shang-Chi range, right? Yondu can definitely be switched out, but he's nice to get a nice little snipe out there to help out your death. Iceman can also be switched out. There's some more plug-and-play ability than there used to be. And then don't forget, like, just Deathlock is a core 3/5. You have counters with Killmonger. And then, of course, the wave combo that we talk about. So this is got to be another one. If you truly want to, like, just master a deck with a very ABC game plan and climb reliably, you'll make it. You'll make it to infinite with this one.
I love it. And actually, my next deck was Wave 5. Like, that was my whole archetype. The next one was Wave 5. So I agree 100% with Death Wave here. And I love the addition of Killmonger because, like, Killmonger's eating Nebulas. Like, Nebulas, I feel like, everywhere. It's obviously one of the best one-drops, if not the best one-drop in the game. People aren't armoring it, though. Like, I'm not seeing armors out there. Are you seeing armors?
There's way less armors out there for sure. And definitely not on, like, a Bucky Barnes kind of thing. Like, we're not seeing that anymore because that's kind of come and gone. And then just the Nova Burst, man, at the end. Like, I think people forget just how much value you're getting out of that, especially if you are patient when you play it. Just, dude, it's so solid. Destroy has like, it has a bit of a cap unless you play, you know, a null and stuff. But man, it's like discard. It's just dependable, linear play. And the more you play it, the more accustomed you get to where to put on what's location. And then not only that, but if you think about all the different locations, like Sokovia, okay? It's like, oh, damn. And it kind of helps you with discard, maybe. The destroy locations are so polarizing for other players. And to have access to those locations for gain is monstrous. It's huge. Lamentus and Death Domain, Altar of Death, all of those, extreme advantage.
Every time I see Altar of Death and the person snaps, my first thing is they have Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
They have Deadpool. I'm like, do I donate a cube to find out if they have Deadpools? I go the next turn. Of course, Deadpool falls into Altar of Death. I'm like, GG. See you later.
Yeah, and not to mention like Galactus too. Like, yeah, you have built-in cards that are going to benefit off of what happens, right? Like, you're like, okay, like, thank you for that. So, definitely, for me, the last deck outside of discard, like you said, it's got to be, if you're looking for consistent, dependable ones, it would be these.
Absolutely. There's no question. And I mean, as I said, my next one's going to be Wave 5. And like, Wave 5 is just incredible. There's so many variations of Death Wave, of course. Doom Wave, we talked about on your side as well, as a surprisingly high win rate deck. Like, I'm surprised more people aren't playing Doom Wave. Like, what's going on here? This deck is so damn good. I want everyone in the comment section to actually tell us what they think are the worst cards in Marvel Snap at each cost, 1 through 6. I want to see them listed out because Cozy and I are going to go through them right now. Now, Cozy, we didn't discuss prior. We don't know. I don't know what you're picking. You don't know what I'm picking. It makes it more fun for us. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. Marvel Snap podcast. It's all about fun. I got 6 cards for you, Cozy, and I think they're absolute garbage. And I'd like to hear your opinion on them, and I'd like to hear yours.
It's fun too because with the OTA changes that we'll talk about here on the third subject, it's changing, right? It's changing one of the worst cards. Like, you know, we can't say Orca anymore. He's graduated. He's moved on, man. So it's cool that the OTA is keeping it a little fresh. So yeah, I'll let you count down from 3, 2, 1, and we'll kind of say it at the same time. I would be surprised if we don't have the same on some of these, but we'll see here. Let's start with the 1 cost.
One thing I will say, though, is on my list in particular, it's not just the worst cards. For me, it's also kind of like the most disappointing cards. Like, cards are just like, this card's not doing anything for me. Like, this card sucks. Like, why would I ever play this card when I could play this card? Or, like, it's not just, like, the worst.
Oh, I
it's
just
also
went
like
bad.
I know. I could have done that too. But, like, I just want to preface it by saying that, like, some of mine is just, like, I feel like this card is just being done so dirty right now, too. So, all right. Counting down. Number 1. Cost 1. 3, 2, 1. Electra.
Angel. Oh, it's got to be Angel. I like Electra now, huh? You like Electra? Is the disappointing thing that you're going at? I would have to say
Electra feels so bad. How do you play Electra? Like, you just can't. But also, how do you play Angel? You just
Angel,
can't.
like, honestly, 1 cost had a lot of contenders, right? Like Quicksilver or Watu. And then I was just looking and I was like, truly, like, who do I don't even glance at in my deck. Like, they don't have a shot. And the ones I just list don't. But Angel is so bad. It's not if, it's when his OTA is going to come. And and maybe it doesn't even come in an OTA. Maybe they just rework the whole damn card. My God, it's not even close. Angel's such garbage. Terrible. Awful.
You know what the worst part about Electra is that you're not touching on right now? If I Electra your Sunspot, Angel comes out.
Oh my God. It's so, yeah. And that unique deck with the 15% win percentage, yeah. Yeah, I think Electra got a tad better with Nebula and Kitty now, and these competitive 1 costs. We can start having her as like a option. But being a 1/1 is what's so interesting, right? Like, I think that's the
Can't
most
play her on turn 1.
But having only 1 power to me is what's so shocking. Like, even a 1/2, because like Squirrel, like, you get 3, right? You get Patriot, Synergy. Bass, same thing. You get great ability. Ant-Man scales up, right? We're looking at the 1/1s. Hawkeye even, he could be a 1/3. Electra, yeah, you get the trade-off, but like, oh, it's rough. Yeah, it is rough there.
What if she was like a 1/1 that actually got a +1 for every card she destroyed? So if like you bounced her and she destroyed another card, she can get to like 1/4.
Well,
so if she destroys a card, she actually becomes a 1/2, but she also gets the value of what she's traded.
It should be like a 1/3 max kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's okay. Even a 1/2, man, with a destroyed card is fine. That's good value.
I agree. Cost 2, Cozy. Are you ready?
Cost 2. Yeah, let me think about it for a second. Oh, yeah, no, I know it. Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Okoye.
Medusa. Oh, Okoye. Dude, you used to be in a... I'm pretty sure she was on your favorite list at one point. What happened?
Man, listen. It's disappointing. She sucks. When do you play Okoye? When have you ever thought about playing Okoye? Like, there was a time where I had this, like, this deck. It was like a good cards deck, but it was all about, like, playing Okoye on 2, having Cap Marvel and all these other cards. The meta changed. There's, like, no point to play Okoye ever.
Yeah.
There's no point. Like, just, like, why? Why would you ever put this in your deck?
I agree. I mean, I feel like I would have some different choices on disappointing cards, but yeah, like Okoye, I have tried to make it work. Like a bounce deck with Lockjaw, with Black Panther, yeah, Captain Marvel. If you don't get Okoye on curve, it's so bad, and even if you do, it's like, okay, right? It's just, yeah, Okoye is one that just doesn't get the love. For me, man, Medusa. Like I was looking at her and Baron. And Baron, at least you can maybe make him work. Medusa to me, I just don't know why. I just don't know why I would put her as a slot in my deck when 2 cost is starting to have so much utility across the board. Like a Sentinel, I can get back multiple times with 1 less power if I don't play it in the middle, or Psylocke, or Lizard, or Daredevil, or Hitmonkey, or Beast, or, you know, like there's so much there. Medusa is utter trash garbage.
I agree. Like Medusa does feel terrible. I mean, in Cerebro Force, she tends to shine, but even then, you can't even play her reliably. Like, what do you even do to Medusa? Do you make her like a? Well, what if you had like a greater range of the effect? Like, what if it was a 2/1 that gained +4, right? If you played mid, like just increase it, like just increase the payoff.
I mean,
because there's going to be times you're just not going to play her because it's just not even your deck. What am I talking about?
Yeah, 2/5s actually. Yeah, I'd take that all day. But yeah, I don't know what they do here. A 2/3 going to 2/5, I guess maybe, but then 2/5 with no drawback outside the middle. It probably, I don't know. I'll let Glenn handle that. But yeah, man, it's trash. It's definitely the bottom for me.
I don't know if I like this idea. Like, if some people just bring up like, hey, some cards are just designed to always be bad. They're new player cards. They're in starter decks. They're pool 1. I don't know if I'm into that. Like, I feel like there should be a world where I can put a Medusa in a deck and be like, oh, I can win cubes here. Like, you know what I mean? We should be able to play every card in Marvel Snap reliably, no?
Where I agree with that to like a small extent. Like, I don't know, like a Forge or like a Domino. But like when it's like Medusa bad, you're like, dude, don't try to spin this as like, maybe it's a starter. No, it's just garbage, you know, like it's in there so that when you get a random variant and you get Medusa, it's like you lose. Good day, sir. You know, it's Willy Wonka. Terrible.
All right, 3 cost. There's a lot of contenders here for being absolute filth. There's a few. 3 costs had a couple options here. I think I found the worst and most disappointing one. Cozy? 3.
Yep.
2, 1. Punisher.
Oh my God. Yeah. Right.
Nailed it.
It's
terrible.
I feel like there's a use for every other 3 cost card, even things like Nakia, then Punisher.
Yeah, Nakia's useful for finding out it's a bot. When they play Nakia, you know it's a bot.
Number 2 for me was Sabretooth, but you could still make it work. The Punisher dude is so bad. He just doesn't make sense into any deck.
No, there's never, ever a reason to play Punisher. There's no reason. Like, you can make an argument, oh, play Punisher in like a Viper deck. No, man, don't play Punisher. Cap is always better. And Mr. Fantastic is literally infinitely better. Punisher is, without question, one of the worst cards in Marvel Snap, and it's kind of sad. It has one of the nicest variants. It should be a better effect. It's garbage.
Look how badass he is. Like, like in the world of the MCU, like, look at the skulls, the guns, and he's like ready to just completely wreck. And then he doesn't. Like, it's just such a letdown, man. It's like, yeah, it's not a good card. I would avoid this at all costs. If you're the guy that's trying to make Punisher work, just stop. Just
give up. There's a reason why some cards just don't see the light of day, and it's probably just because it's absolute filth.
Not great. 4 cost is going to be interesting. 4 cost used to be regarded before Zabu as just like such a trash tier because it was so hard to play these and get the full effect. I think we're going to both have the same if I had to guess. So just kind of like we did for the best, I want to hear kind of what your alternate would be, right? Because the main one, we already know what the main one is. Let's get that one out of the way, right?
Okay, right. You want to just do the one we know is the worst?
100%, yeah.
Okay, then we'll talk about our actual other picks. This was too easy. This was way too easy. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
There she is. Yeah, it had to be. Crystal.
Too easy.
So bad. So we don't need to waste our breath on this waste of a card.
Just garbage.
Who would be your second up?
For me, it's Hell Cow. Like Hell Cow, I feel like, and this is like, okay, let me explain Hell Cow. It's the worst because it's had a complete fall from grace. There's no reason to play Hell Cow when you can play MODOK. Like, there's just no reason to. Like, it feels like it has decent stats. It's a 4/6. It discards 2 separate cards, but like it's discarding your MODOK, right? Like, it's discarding the other things that do discard better. So I feel like this card feels like the worst discard card outside of Blade.
The stats aren't horrid. I mean, Swordmaster has the same stats, right? You can get it down with Zabu to 3/6. I don't know if it's the worst, but you definitely it's definitely out completely like power creep, like kind of the MODOK thing you're saying. Like I said, I had played so much discard in the last week, and I tried to make Hell Cow work. It's so infuriating that Hell Cow can't work with Apocalypse that well either. Like, it's just, it's such a joke in that sense. And yeah, I did not end up, after all the decks I made, even though I put it in some, it didn't make the cut. It didn't make the cut even in a Zabu 4-cost discard build that I was making. Yeah, the worst outside of Crystal, honestly, would be the guy that I would least want to fight. I think Strong Guy, he's just situationally very difficult, and especially when you have Dracula serve his role so much better in a sense, with the ongoing effect as well. Maybe if it wasn't on an ongoing effect, maybe I could put him out there reliably and then kind of work around it. Even with MODOK coming out, he didn't shine, man. Don't punch me, Strong Guy. But yeah, I think he's got to be the worst.
Strong Guy feels like a card that's infuriating because it's like, I think he should be rewarded for meeting the condition. It's a hard condition to meet because like you can't play Apocalypse in it. You can't do but you got to discard, right? You got to do this. Like, that's actually where Blade is played usually. It's like a turn 5 Blade play. So you have Chavez, you can dump your hand. But like, it needs to be like, if your hand's empty, +8 or something. It needs to be more than this.
It's kind of like Shauna, how she got like, she's like a 4/10 on average, and she can go above that. And then you play with Khazar, so she goes even crazier. It's like, I feel like because Shauna takes up 3 spots, they do that. But with him, it's still a wonky, crazy thing that they should reward it to be a bit above the typical power, if you're able to somehow pull it off.
I agree 100% because it feels like so unrewarding to play for something that takes a lot of effort to execute. So yeah, Strong Guy's terrible, Crystal's terrible, and Hell Cow, like, honestly never used to be terrible. Like, this was a nerfed card in beta. Like, it used to be incredibly powerful with when Hella was on its full reign. 5 cost, I think I'd be surprised if we don't have the same one. I mean, there's a couple honestly like pretty rough cards in here, but for the most part, they're also pretty good. Even cards like Abomination now are kind of making a bit of a comeback. But my card here, I know won't make a comeback because it's trash.
Count it down.
And 3, 2, 1. For me, it's Magic.
I forgot to say my Ronin. Yours is Magic. Oh, I kind of like Magic. Yeah, but Magic's like, no, I get it. Magic, it feels so risky to play for only 3 power and the ability of Storm it's like your whole gambit is hoping they don't do anything on that turn 6 to ruin Limbo. So I do get that. I actually like Magic. I think she's going to make a giant comeback with High Evolutionary too, and the way those energy decks go. But I feel like they reworked her at launch, and it never felt right, and then they never adjust her again.
Absolutely. Like, ever since launch, Magic's been terrible. Before launch, during beta, she's one of the best cards in the game. And then, like, it's just, what a fall from grace. Like, this has been one of the this is borderline Leader. Like, Leader was destroyed. Magic was nearly destroyed as bad.
You know what? It's even more sad is I saw Glenn on Twitter, I think, respond to someone like, yeah, Magic's not currently on our list yet. And I was like, oh, damn. And maybe it is because of High Evo. We'll have to see how that interaction works. You know, dude, I would say this was the hardest cost to look at. Abomination was that card. I think he can definitely work in Patriot now as a steady play. I think for me, dude, it is Ronin. Even with Master Mold, man, which is like the card design for him. It's just not his day yet, man. It's not his day, especially when Darkhawk is out there and Devil Dino. And then you have Enchantress on top of that who's everywhere. Like, Ronin doesn't feel like a good card to play often. And is easily, out of this list, I think the worst.
He just doesn't really match up to Devil Dinosaur. Like, even if he had one power, if he was a 5/4 that had the same line, I feel like it'd make more sense because, like, Devil Dinosaur, you have way more agency over controlling your deck size, your hand size, sorry. When you're affecting your opponent's hand, it's way harder. And even with Master Mold, it's still hard. So like, it feels like it's just underperformed. Like, why would you ever play Ronin over Devil Dinosaur? One can make the argument of the disruption, but like, even then, why?
And then think about like new cards that come out. Stature came out, Black Bolt through the roof. Master Mold came out, Ronin is Ronin, right? Like, you know, he gets a little better, but he's still just super wonky, and your opponent can still do a lot with their hand. So yeah, definitely not a Ronin fan. 6 cost. I think 6 cost was actually tougher than people think because they buffed Leader and Orca. Those were the two. Those were the two.
Oh, they were the two.
Those were the easy ones. Those are the easy favorites. Now they're both decent. Like 6'11 is still a good stat line, even if he doesn't get the power now. This will be interesting. All right, here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Helicarrier. Yeah.
It's
I've been playing
the
a
only
lot.
card that's terrible here.
It's funny. It's not even like it's the worst card in the world in a discard deck, but it's still bad. Like out of everything else, and like Agatha, sure. Like, yeah, I think that's the easy pick. But I think Helicarrier, it just doesn't feel great. The only time I like Helicarrier is I Lady Sif it and I get to Ghost Ride it down, and I'm like, yeah, 10 power. That's it. It's awkward to play. I love random decks like Agent Coulson, right? But it just doesn't feel the same.
It's one of those cards that it's just like, why would you play this? Like, it just feels like a card that just makes no sense. Like, why would you ever want this? You can make the argument, oh, Collector got buffed. That's a buff for Helicarrier. Sure, still not playing it. Like, it still feels awful. You know, I mean, I like that you brought up Agatha too. That's the other one. Like, Agatha and Helicarrier feel like they're on meme category levels. Agatha even more than meme, but like, again, yeah, Agatha exists, and yeah, you can use it for the meme play and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, again, I would like to believe that every single card should have like a role to play competitively. Not to say it's the best deck, but like, can you really get to infinite with Agatha reliably? No.
Yeah, Helicarrier, I feel like it's so awkward just where you play it too, right? Like you can put it in Hela, that's probably its best place, right? But when you play it in a discard deck, you always want MODOK in your discard decks now. And the problem with MODOK is like you're going to be running Dracula because you want to definitely get the most off that MODOK that does the Apocalypse. But then when you do that, you're getting all these other random cards that could be other 6 costs, and it ruins your Dracula play now. And you're like, you're hurting your consistency. You're upping your randomness, and you're hurting your consistency for a deck that already has so much random.
It really does make sense to play it in discard sometimes. Like, if you're playing a Helicarrier list, it's because like you chose to play a Helicarrier list. Like, you're not trying to win games. You wanted to like, you want the boosters. You're absolutely out of your mind. Like, you chose this path.
100%. And besides that, the rest of the 6 cost are probably in a pretty good place. But I do think this is a good time to switch over to the whale of the hour. Orca, Shamu, Free Willy has been buffed up along with 2 other cards. Our OTA recap, Alex. And man, Orca feels playable.
Orca was obviously a buff candidate. The card was terrible. It was unplayable. It was impossible to reasonably play. Even in like the fake Galactus deck I was trying to do, like it still sucked. It was just still so bad. As a 6'11", I mean, it's pretty interesting to think that like it's really just one under Hulk, although Hulk's going to get some additional value coming soon. As a 6'11" straight up, and then with a +5 possibility, I kind of like it. In my early experimentation, it still feels a little wonky. I think the restriction is still like hard to meet at times. It can feel hard to meet, especially as a 6-drop, right? Because like as a 6-drop, like it doesn't impact other lanes, like not like a Magneto, right? So I do like it though. I think it's interesting, but it's not great.
It has its use. I think this is what's tough about it. You can't really cheat it out. If you cheat it out with Wave, you're exposing what you're doing. Lockjaw doesn't work. You can't do like Ghost Rider, Lady Sif Ghost Rider doesn't work, right? You can't cheat him out. Jubilee, none of that, because you ruin his effect. But 6'11" is still a good stat line, right? So like at least that really made up for like kind of the lack of it. I did like make a kind of a combo graphic. There's really all the things that it works with are things that are going on in other lanes, and I feel like possibly like a ramp living tribunal thing in the future, maybe. I obviously think things like, Green Goblin helping that Orca lane out even more. Sandman, I think, is probably one of his best homes. Claw, Mr. Fantastic. So I think Orca definitely feels better. I don't think I'm going to be playing him much, if really any, but it's cool that he's not just complete garbage now.
I feel like he's a surprise card. He's a turn 6 surprise card where you have an empty location and they're like, what is he doing here? Like he can't possibly be playing Orca, is he? That'll
Yeah.
never cross anyone's mind. He must be playing Orca. Thought nobody ever.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a surprise card. And that's why in my fake Galactus deck it worked so well, because like I'd set up the lanes and I was like, oh, I know what he's doing. I don't know. Why would you just go naked Galactus on this play though? It makes no sense. And boom, Orca.
But the thing is like with Zoppo on the board, Namor is only 3 cost for 11 still, and you get to play some other stuff. So it's like it still feels not even the best option as a surprise card. But yeah, again, I guess it's a bit more playable. But they did adjust two cost, and both of these I think went up. I think Collector will start here, and I just got this variant. I love it. It's definitely spicy. Collector is still what he is. I think he's super fun. I think that we are missing maybe a couple complement pieces. It's a bit RNG at times. There are decks that work with the Collector. I don't think he's like a meta 2-cost card, but he's playable. He's much more playable.
I do like him in the discard swarm list, although I do think that overall list is less consistent than the ones we talked about, like even on your channel or prior on the best archetypes.
Yep.
Like I do think it's interesting. And again, like if you think about like the lizard stat line of 2/5 being like, if you can get there, it's getting value. I mean, Collector can very easily get to 2/5. I feel like there's only a card like Morbius can get absolutely insane.
That's the issue.
This is not an ongoing.
So, but that's, but the issue with it is this card is so finite with the amount of the cards that go into the deck, right? And again, it's perfect to talk about this because I have played an asinine amount of these. And I've tried everything, man. I've done the Wong, MODOK, you billion swarms, and then you get this guy up to 11. It happens every now and then, and when it does, it feels like hella, right? The thing is like, because of his cost, Calling Wing and Swarm, you start to kind of crowd the low cost there. It's why Nebula's fun too, but I don't like absolutely love Nebula all the time either. Because of just the way that there's like a cut and dry method of how discard works the best. Nebula obviously is great, especially when you get a turn 1. But Collector, I would rather the Morb, most likely, right? Because
Morb's always better in discard. I agree.
Because you're going to play Morb. You're looking to do what? Morb, then Storm, then Dracula, then MODOK, and then Chavez, and you have the Apocalypse. That's almost always your game plan, and then you have the Swarms as well, no?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And that's kind of what Collector's trying to compete with. But like, if the Shield kind of archetype worked better and was a little more meta, then Collector could benefit there too, right? You have like the Agent 13s, you have the Coulsons, like those all generate for Collector as well.
Yeah. He does okay in Rocks and Hawks. He does okay I actually wish he had ongoing because of Rocks and Hawks and having like another option to kind of mess with there. He does well. I probably played like 5 hours of him since OTA, and I want to find that deck that I can absolutely stand behind. But I'm still searching.
I think that's exactly it. Like he's easy to replace. Like he's very easy to cut in a lot of these lists, which kind of indicate that like maybe something's wrong. Now in beta, he used to give +2. Right, he used to give +2 for every card that's out. They had to cut that down because he was a little too wild. Now, as a +1, you're right. The sky's like very low on him. The ceiling's limited, especially when you compare it to something like Morbius.
Yeah, without question. Luke Cage was the last one to get the OTA buff, and I don't know about you. I mean, obviously Cerebro, it went up significantly as far as its reliability. Just having another card to get that power, it can be understated. Outside of that, I feel like it's Luke Cage, right? Like, I don't feel like a ton changed there. It's definitely nice. It's definitely nice, and I love it. I do think Luke Cage, I put him on my token shop recommendations before they even did the buff, because I think he's massively slept on for what's about to come to Snap with High Evolutionary. But man, I'm glad it gave him even more of a spotlight, because he deserves it.
He'll absolutely destroy that particular High Evolutionary style deck, like that negative power style list, that Apocalypse and whatnot. Like, not Apocalypse, sorry, Cyclops, I meant to say. Like, it'll definitely destroy that archetype of High Evolutionary. There's no question about it. And, but like, it really does provide a ton of, like, for Cerebro, it's amazing. Huge nerf down for Scorpion, by the way. Scorpion gets a little knocked down. Like, we were concerned about Scorpion running amok after the Lizard nerf, and this is a nice little counterbalance, right? Like, that's the crazy thing about Marvel Snap and every card game, really. Like, cards don't exist in a vacuum. They interact with each other, right? So Lizard gets nerfed. We all think that Scorpion's going to rocket through the roof, and then Luke Cage gets buffed. All's fair.
Yep, right? I know, for sure, without question. It has me excited for what's this Thursday? What's the OTA buff, right? Like they've done such a good job the last few weeks that like it has me. I think they nailed the OTA this last week because it wasn't Enchantress. It wasn't, a card that already saw a lot of play. Yeah, Luke a little bit, but it was two other cards that have been like wildly ignored. It spiced them up a little bit, gave us something new to play with, right? I think this is how you do it with the OTAs, and I hope they continue this. They have the cards that they need to adjust, but then they have the fun ones.
I was really happy to see that Luke Cage got the top up. The other thing I really liked about it was I didn't expect Luke Cage, or like honestly, I didn't expect Luke Cage and Collector to be the ones getting topped up. That gets me excited for the next OTA because it's like what card? Like obviously we all thought Crystal and whatever the Helicarrier, like the cards we just talked about, but like they might hit us with a surprise. I had not expected Enchantress to get +2. And they're clearly being aggressive. Like they could have just went 4-5 with Enchantress and people would have been excited. No, they went to 4-6.
Yep.
They went up. They made it part of the meta. They said, hey, you guys want something to chew on here? 4-6 Enchantress. I like that. And I know you're a proponent of that too.
Yeah, I think they're going to experiment with it in May, they said. I hope it sticks. If they do every other week, I think it's okay. I think that's fine. Yeah. But I do like the underplayed cards. Like if every week was like this last one, sign me up. I think that's fine. If every week was like 2 weeks ago, where it's like the meta shift big time, it's a lot to chew on each week.
It is a lot to chew on. There's no doubt about it. And I agree that ultimately, like I can 100% foresee them going to every second week. It also helps them gather more data. And as the game gets more balanced, as they're doing these OTA updates, like they'll need more data to make more informed decisions, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's not just cards like Crystal sitting in like the wayside forever. And that's kind of where I go back to the idea of like, I would like for Medusa just get changed up 2-1 +4. Give me something. Let's see what happens. If it's broken, change it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The card's seeing absolutely no play. Like what's the downside?
Yeah, and remember, not this Tuesday, but the next Tuesday is our balance patch, and that's going to bring actual ability changes. And so that's the one to hold out for. I think this Thursday might be on the light side. We don't know. But the next Tuesday is where, maybe Galactus, maybe, we don't know. It's an ability change. And so that's what's going to be interesting.
And with that, you guys can select at the center of the screen, Cozy Snaps edition of the Snapchat, where we're going to be talking about the surprising high win rate decks, the best cards at every cost, locations that we love and hate, and most importantly, guys, don't forget to leave your questions down below in the comments section for our special Q&A episode that'll be on the channel next week. Cozy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Appreciate you, man. We'll see you guys on the next one.